Hey everyone, welcome back to the workshop. Artisan Pirate here, and in today's fun scroll saw project video, have a creative Halloween design from an older issue of Scroll Saw Woodworking and Crafts magazine by Fox Chapel Publishing. Here is the cover, and by now you guys will be very familiar with this issue because we've already done a few projects out of this magazine and even a Halloween design. And when I made that video, I said I might want to come back and do another one out of this magazine, so that's what today's video is about. But this is Fall 2021, issue 84 of the magazine. There you see the cover, and the article and patterns begin on page 26, and here you see, and we are once again revisiting the filigree Halloween ornaments. And I want to go on and give a thanks to Mr. Keith Fenton for the designs, and the ones featured in the magazine were cut by Robert Carpenter, so thank you guys for featuring these creative designs in the magazine. And you guys remember, originally we done the floral stylish Pirates Jolly Roger there, and I used artist visual interpretation to not make it as an ornament but to enlarge it and make it as a piece of wall art that I can hang with all of my pirate stuff in my room, and it came out amazingly well and crisp. So I want to revisit this design today and do the jack-o'-lantern design here. Pumpkins and jack-o'-lanterns are iconic fixtures of the Halloween and spooky season and the ever-popular pumpkin spice coffee. So really cool. And once again, I'm going to be doing artist interpretation to enlarge the design. But the full-size patterns, if you want to cut them out as ornaments, is featured on the following page. I took a picture of the jack-o'-lantern there, and I sent it to my printer, and I printed it out as big as I could, and I trimmed it out and attached it to our material with clear packing tape. And we're going to be stack cutting 2 out of 1/4 inch material, so we'll double check and make sure the scroll saw is lined up at a perfect 90 degrees for stack cutting. And I like to stack cut, especially with pieces like this, to help offer support to some of these fragile and delicate areas, these little swooping curves here. If you were cutting them out of just a thin piece of 1/4 inch stock material, it could have potential to chip away and break, especially as you remove more and more of the waste wood as you progress through the project. So I like to take advantage of stack cutting to help offer a little bit more support to those fragile details. I always have the classic and iconic jack-o'-lantern candy bucket out in the workshop because, of course, Halloween is my favorite season because I get to dress up more often than not as a pirate and go out and put smiles on faces out in my community and make memories with amazing people. But since everything is pretty much prepped and prepared, let's move the camera over to the workbench, drill all of the pilot holes required so we can come back to the scroll saw and start scrolling. And over here on the workbench, we are taking the Seiko scroller's drill and drilling out all of the pilot holes for internal cutting. And you will note that I have a backer board behind the scroll work to prevent blowout of the pilot holes on the reverse side. But after the pilot holes are drilled, it'll be time to move over to the scroll saw and begin scrolling. For all of the scrolling on this project, I'll be using a number 5 Ultra reverse tooth blade, and they'll cut through all the material exceptionally well with minimal chip out. And keep in mind, I am stack cutting 2 pieces of 1/4 inch material here, so we are essentially getting 2 beautiful scroll saw projects cut out for the time it takes to basically cut out the one. But as always, I am taking my time and letting the blade do the work. There is a lot of small details in this project, and that is also why I like to stack cut whenever possible, to offer support to some of those fragile details that could potentially break or chip away. If you guys would like to try this pattern, it is available in an older issue of Scroll Saw Woodworking and Crafts magazine by Fox Chapel Publishing. When I was going through older issues and I seen this pattern pack of ornaments that was offered, remember we done the Pirates Jolly Roger in a previous video, I knew I would have to bring the pumpkin here to life as well, because the pumpkin and Halloween jack-o'-lantern is such an iconic fixture of the spooky and Halloween season. And I do love my pumpkin spice coffee. And I really love these floral designs here because of the amount of detail in them. They're kind of challenging projects if you are new to scroll saw woodworking, but all of the work is so worth it once you get to the finished design. And keep in mind, I interpreted the design in a different way. They were supposed to be small, maybe 3-inch round ornaments. I just enlarged them for a piece of wall art. And I like when you make the project bigger From a distance, you can easily tell that it is a Halloween pumpkin, but as you get closer and closer to it, all of those beautiful floral decorations emerge. If you guys like what you're seeing, I would highly encourage you to subscribe to my channel and also follow me across all my social media feeds under the Artisan Pirate name. I'd really appreciate the support. We are now getting the two final big internal cuts here. That's always a rule of thumb when it comes to scroll saw woodworking, to save the biggest internal cuts for last, because the more material you remove from a piece, the more fragile the material itself becomes. But we will get the last one done here. Again, I am taking my time and letting the blade do the work, and I am being as loyal as I can be to the cut line. But once we come back around here and remove the waste wood, I can retension the blade and begin that final long outside perimeter cut. But keep in mind, not all scroll saw work will be done on this project once we come around here. We will still have to cut out the backer board. But the main bulk of the scroll saw work will be complete. And I will come around here and go over to the workbench and remove the pattern, and we can see what we have cut out here. And I'll take a scrap piece of 1/2 inch plywood and do the washer technique to make a perfect 1/4 inch backer board all the way around. I trace that out with a pen, so hopefully it will come up better on camera. But now we can begin the final bit of actual scroll saw work. Once again, using that same number 5 ultra reverse tooth scroll saw blade. And I'm just simply following the cut line to make the backer board. But now it will be time for sanding, and I'll use 180 grit Klingspor Woodworking Shop sandpaper and my vibrating palm sander here. And I'll be very careful when sanding the actual pumpkin piece here to make sure I don't break or chip anything away. But then we will add a nice dark Minwax wood stain to the backer board here to really make the grain and textures pop. And I'll wipe off all of the excess, and I'll set a fan in front of it to dry. And after it was dry, it was time to glue up with medium grade CA glue and activator, and I still use spring clamps and a strip of wood to help apply pressure to those center details to make sure they grab the backer board. And while the glue was drying, I stepped over to my longer Ray 5 20-watt laser, and I had made the same design in miniature as it was intended out of 1/4 inch material. But now we can come back and remove the clamps now that the glue has fully cured, and we can get ready to apply a finish. And the finish will be several coats of Rust-Oleum clear gloss. And once that dries, the project will be complete. And here we have the completed fretwork stylized pumpkin jack-o'-lantern, cut out completely over on the scroll saw from start to finish, and it finished up amazingly well with some beautiful and crisp details in it. Thank you once again to Mr. Keith Fenton for this creative design from a previous issue of Scroll Saw Woodworking and Crafts magazine by Fox Chapel Publishing. It took me around 35 minutes to scroll this project out completely from start to finish. There is some small and tedious cuts and fragile cuts in this project, so I did what I always did, and I took my time and let the blade do the work, and I was as loyal as I could be to that cut line during all of the scrolling process, and everything came out nice and crisp as you see here. I hope the results speak for themselves. I finished this project in a standard rustic finishing way like I like to do. I stained the backer board, which is basic 1/2 inch plywood, a nice dark Minwax wood stain to hopefully complement and make the lighter shade of the 1/4 inch material we scrolled out pop. And once we added the Rust-Oleum clear gloss at the end, it really made those grains and textures stand out and give it that nice glossy sheen that I like to have on scroll saw woodworking projects. And I got to be careful how I handle it right now because it is still just a little bit tacky, because as we get into the cooler and cooler months, it's going to take a lot longer for those clear coats and finishes we apply to dry out here in the workshop. But once it completely dries and cures overnight, I will add a hanger on the back, and it'll be ready to be proudly displayed in the house for Halloween or over here on the scroll saw display wall out in the workshop. But I'm very happy to add this to my collection, and it's just a beautiful and elegant design. I like how even if you are far away from it, you can easily tell that it is a classic spooky jack-o'-lantern for the Halloween season. But as you get closer and closer, those beautiful details we cut out really emerge. And I hope that that little tip about stack cutting pieces that have delicate scroll work in them really helps you guys. It's something I always do to offer support to all of those floating pieces that will essentially be in open air once you start removing that interior waste wood from the internal cuts. And because of stack cutting, I have another floral pumpkin here to finish in my leisure as I see fit, or I can even pass it along to someone else and let them finish it in a creative and unique way. So a great way to also batch out projects over on the scroll saw. And when I look at this, if you could potentially put a light behind it, it would make a beautiful design on the side of a house, maybe with an orange light behind it for the Halloween season, and give off a great spooky vibe. And if you were very good with a jigsaw, being freehand with it, you could enlarge this pattern and make an amazing piece of yard art for the Halloween season. Once again, showing off a scroll saw pattern's amazing versatility. But I want to go back to the pumpkin now. This is the second project from that set in the old magazine that we have cut out. We originally done the Pirate's Jolly Roger, and this one is hanging in my room with all of my pirate gear, you know, just representing the pirate lifestyle. But I really love the designs of these that Keith Fenton offers. So really cool and creative design here. I'm going to once again show the magazine here. It is again an older issue of Scroll Saw Woodworking and Crafts magazine by Fox Chapel Publishing, fall 2021, issue 84. And again, the design and article begins on page 26. And keep in mind, these were meant to be very small and fragile fretwork stylized ornaments to cut out, so maybe as big as the top of a standard coffee cup or coffee mug. But I just went with a different way, being an artist, in how I interpreted the design, and I enlarged it to have a piece of wall art. So really cool. You can see the jack-o'-lantern we done, the pirate skull we done previously, and there's still a cat, witch, bat, and spider design that we can do. And here is the full size as they were meant to be patterns. Again, I just enlarged them, and you can see how small they are. And just for a bit of fun, I sent the pattern over to my laser engraver, my 20-watt longer Ray 5 diode laser, and cut it out how small it was meant to originally be. And you can cut stuff this small out on the scroll saw, my friends. You need a very steady hand and a very small, maybe number 1 or number 2 scroll saw blade. But as you can see how small it is, this is again 1/4 inch material, and these end up being even more so fragile than the project we cut out today. But I had a lot of fun here getting ready for the spooky season and the Halloween fun and spooktacular events, getting to dress up as the pirate and put smiles on faces. This project brought all those memories back, and I'm really looking forward to making even more Halloween memories in the future. So really cool. I hope you guys liked the video and hopefully and potentially picked up a tip or tidbit along the way. I'm going to lay this aside to where it can completely cure overnight, and I can add a hanger on it in the morning. That's about all for this one. If you're new to the channel, hopefully you'll click that subscribe button and also follow me across all my social media feeds under the Artisan Pirate name. As always, links to contact me as well as all my social media feeds will always be linked down in the description box below these videos. That's about all for this one, and remember guys, if I can make it or do it, so can you. I'm the Artisan Pirate. Take care, and I'll see you guys real soon.